يا قدس الله أكبر مسرى الرسول يصيح الله أكبر يا قدس يا قدس الله أكبر مسرى الرسول يصيح الله أكبر يا طير مهاجر على الأقصى وديني الأقصى أرض وعرض وشرف وديني لو نمشي على مبدأ صالح الديني من باكر تشرق شمسك يا حرية يا طير مهاجر على الأقصى وديني الأقصى أرض وعرض وشرف وديني لو نمشي على مبدأ صالح الديني من باكر تشرق شمسك يا حرية
But you could come through Jordan, or
yeah, so they were avoiding it, and now there are some fatwas that it's okay to go and visit the place because it's
And the mosque is not managed by Israel, it's managed by Jordan. It's a waqf. It's a waqf by Jordan, and also we got it from the British.
yeah, but I want to add that in Jerusalem, for example, we have David's king mamlacha, kingdom. I'm sure most of you, they don't know about it, but they're digging in areas of the Arab side of East Jerusalem. They're digging after villages, under villages, looking for King David kingdom.
yeah,
About
cracks in the wall.
yes, and you have cracks in the wall inside of the houses. You have cracks in the like the houses. They shake in the night. And today you have a destroying order for over than 48 houses, which contains more than 3,000 people, Palestinian, living in it, because they want to build the garden of David. They want to destroy houses and to do the garden of King David, Allah yarhamu, God save him. So it's really and part of the theater that we do as political action, and that we do theater, it's targeted to only to Jewish Hebrew speakers people. We do it in Hebrew, in Israeli theaters, and we tell the story of Silwan, for example, which is an action that it's a direct action in order to change the minds of people, because they think they're coming to see a show, but then we bring the conflict into the theater itself. So this is another way of the theater.
This is a real play that Rima is one of its stars.
It's a famous play, and I heard it's going to come to. I heard they're trying to get it into the Netherlands.
Yes, we're coming to the Netherlands.
They're coming to the Netherlands next year, so you will see it. The Peacock of Silwan.
Yeah.
Don't forget it. My last question.
Yeah.
My last question.
From the people.
From myself. Inside the movement, there are also conflicts. The conflict of Israel-Palestine is also inside of the movement, you could say. How do you deal with that? On a very practical level. How do you get consensus on what you do and what you don't do?
ممكن ترجم؟
طبعا.
هو يقول كيف هذا الصراع يمكن الإنسان يلعب فيه دور إيجابي لحل إيجاد السلام.
بدك تحكي بالهولندي؟
بالعربي.
أوكي.
أنا أؤمن بالسلام.
I believe in peace.
وأؤمن بأن الفن، المسرح والموسيقى ستلعب دور مهم في هذا المسلسل السلام.
And I believe that arts in all its kind, music or theater, is going to take a real, a strong role in bringing peace.
وهو السلاح الوحيد ليعني حل الصراع ما بين إسرائيل والفلسطينيين.
And it's the only solution in order to end the conflict between Israel and Palestine.
Shukran. Still my question. how do you, because there are conflicts inside the movement, I saw them and I felt them. How do you deal with them on a very practical way? How do you come to your consensus?
Now this is the conflict who's going to answer that.
I would just say that the organization has two heads. It's Israeli and Palestinian. All the groups. For example, I didn't tell you, we're coming from Tel Aviv Tulkarem group. Nowadays, I am the Israeli coordinator of the group, and Iyad is the Palestinian coordinator of the Tulkarem group. And this model in Tel Aviv Tulkarem is replicated in other groups and it is replicated in the organization. We have a managerial management, Israeli management, Palestinian management, Israeli CEO, Palestinian CEO, Israeli general coordinator, Palestinian general coordinator. And we meet each other. In fact, sometimes we have, sometimes we try to stay united, like the Israeli voice and the Palestinian voice. But in fact, I can tell you a secret. Sometimes we have weird coalition between us, because we think, I can think similarly like Iyad, and don't agree with Rima or with Chen, with other Israeli, and we will try to promote our agenda. But what I noticed is that for the Palestinian, it's very important most of the time to stay, despite the disagreement in their side, to stay in one voice, much more than to the Israeli side.
Iyad, you want to reflect on that?
كله طبعا اكيد يعني فيش مجموعه ما فيش فيها خلافات.
There is no group in the world with no conflicts inside of it.
بس بالاخر يعني بنتفاهم على شيء معين.
But we get into an agreement in the end.
اللي بيخلينا نتفاهم على شيء معين انه هدفنا واحد هو انهاء الاحتلال.
What is really guiding us in order to get into settlement and agreement is that we are working in order to end the occupation.
لانه هدفه وهدفي نفس الشيء.
Because our goal is the same.
الهدف هو يتغلب على كل الخلافات.
And the goals will end all the conflicts. I want to add something. Yeah, I always hear it from the Israelis that the Israelis they want to end the occupation, but we always say that the ones who's gonna really end the occupation, it's Israelis with Palestinians. But once the Israeli is I lost my English. The Israeli, he needs to follow the Palestinian in order to end the occupation. Because in the end of the day, the Palestinians, he go back to the west to live in the refugee camp, and the Israeli, he go back to fly from Tel Aviv airport to the beach, which is Iyad didn't see in his life, in the Israeli side, and they go to live in peace. And that's why the Israelis, they're always taking. We do have arguments, for example, in which signs we want to have in the demonstration. But in the end of the day, yes, the Palestinians, they choose what they want to be, because it's in the end of this day, it's their lands that we're working on it, actually. We don't work together in Israel because they're not allowed to get into Israel. So, and we meet as one nation groups. Like the Israelis, we do work alone in Israel, and we have our conflicts inside of us, and we work on it. And also the Palestinians, they work alone and meeting and discussing, and then we join together. So it's not only working together, it's also working separate and together and separate all the time, which makes you more objective.
يا تونس يا تونس الله أكبر مصر